the bobsledding, Jamaica, they have a bobsled team. I remember in '89 or something with John Candy, was
88.
it? 88, was
Yeah.
it John Candy?
The movie was made in 93.
93.
Yeah.
They made a movie of the Jamaican bobsledding team. You know, there's a country full of sunshine, beaches, and coconut trees, and yet they have a Winter Olympic bobsled team. And they made the movie about it. If you get a chance to see it, it's extremely funny and enjoyable. And before I forget, we have another of our own at the Olympics, Glenn Boucher. He left 2 weeks before the Olympics began. He's a Russian-speaking, Russian interpreter. His wife, Grace, belongs to the station. He's a wonderful producer. And Glenn is over there, and just in case this makes it to him. Hi, Glenn. How's Sochi? Could you bring me back something, please? About 19, pretty. No, I'm sorry, but I did enjoy that movie about the bobsledding.
Okay, let's get on to the show. The second video, I know we're going to be running over time to do this. We're already at 30 minutes. So if it's okay to run over, okay. The next one is called Aerial Skiing Freestyle. This video will show us that there are 3 basic twisting techniques in aerial skiing. The whole body, the arms, and the hips. Those are the 3 parts of it. With the whole body, it's called contact twisting. And this is where when the person applies a turning force or torque, and it results in angular momentum, just like we saw with the figure skater. So that's contact twisting, and then tilt twisting with the arm, precise arm movements made by the skier. And finally, a motion of the hips, a hula hoop motion it is described as. And it's described as something like the motion that a cat makes when it jumps from upstairs and ends up on the feet. And we happen to have a volunteer hula hooper coming in here. Mark.
Quincy are now going to have
The hula hoop is over there.
Quincy are now going to have another winter Olympic
very fortunate.
sport. Now, hope you do better than me, Mark. I did.
You know, there might
I
be a
didn't.
chance that I won't.
Yeah, I didn't get any
But you
medal.
could pull that chair out of the
I
way.
didn't get
Pull,
any
no,
medal,
Frank, pull
Mark.
that chair out of the way. That's it.
All right.
Okay. How about a little hula hoop music? Yay, 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 yay.
Here we go.
Okay.
Go USA.
That was good.
You better be quick.
Hula hoop, hula hoop, hula hoop, hoop.
Hula hoop.
Hula
Hey.
hoop, hula hoop, hula hoop, hoop. Watch him hula hoop,
Yeah.
watch. Hey,
That was fantastic.
that was very good, Mark.
Is that good?
Yes, you did very well.
Goldson gold. Gold. Teflon gold.
Yes, definitely.
Gold. Fantastic.
Thank you.
So
That was
Quincy
great.
Quincy has won up on the medals today. We had our first gold. Thanks so much.
did
That
it.
was excellent.
That was very
That was
good.
excellent.
Very
done.
good.
Uh-huh. Enjoyed that. Best part of the show so far.
So,
Get back to
with
basics.
that as a nice lead
Good
in
demonstration.
to the video, aerial skiing freestyle. And you will notice there is some hula hoop type of motion in there. Okay, let's have a look.
As in Newton 1, 2, 3.
As in Newton 1, 2, 3, go. Yeah,
You know what I thought Newton 1, 2, 3 was?
they're
Dave?
showing the movie.
I thought Newton 1, 2, 3
Yeah.
was when the 3 apples fell on his head.
Oh,
It's not, it's his
it's
laws
about
of motion,
the laws
isn't
of
it?
3 laws of motion.
See, I'm learning.
Right, right.
Are we ready for the graphics in the back there, Mr. Andrew or Mr. John?
In the sport of freestyle aerials, skiers are judged on their ability to perform complex jumps in the air. Emily Cook, a 12-year veteran of the U.S. freestyle team, and the Exploratorium's Paul Doherty, a physicist funded by the National Science Foundation, show how these jumps actually come from 3 basic twisting techniques that you can try yourself.
It's a sport of seemingly endless twists and turns. In Olympic freestyle aerials, skiers plummet down a steep ramp at up to 45 miles an hour before launching almost 50 feet into the air. Then the real fun begins. Olympic aerialist Emily Cook is part acrobat, part daredevil, and an intuitive master of physics.
I think I was kind of born to be upside down. Some people are like that. It's my most comfortable position.
Any rotating mass has a property known in physics as angular momentum, created when torque, a force causing a free body to rotate, is applied to a mass, in this case an aerialist. Aerial skiers call this contact twisting, and they create it in the way they push off the ramp.
If you were standing on the ground and you were to just jump up and do a full twist, you're pushing off of the ground. It's what is causing the twist.
Paul Doherty, senior scientist at the Exploratorium in San Francisco, shows how you can do contact twisting yourself.
Watch me. I'll leap into the air and turn 90 degrees by pushing on the ground before I leave. That was easy.
The push-off is crucial. Once in the air, aerialists cannot change their angular momentum. So how do they control their motion to execute the best spin in the air? By controlling what's called their moment of inertia, which they do by moving their arms and legs in and out. A good illustration of this comes from the animal kingdom. For more than a century, scientists have studied why a falling cat almost always lands on its feet. Slow motion photography reveals that by tucking its front legs and spreading its back ones, all while rotating the upper and lower torso in opposite directions, the cat can twist without touching anything.
One part of the cat is turning one way and the other part's turning the other. By changing the position of the mass, they can actually turn in the air.
Aerialists perform the cat twist by making a hula hoop motion with their hips.
If you picture yourself in a pool and you bend yourself at your waist and you just kind of swivel yourself around, eventually you'll start twisting.
The last technique, called tilt twisting, uses precise arm movements to alter the speed and orientation of the spin.
If I were to go off the jump, I have both of my arms up. And if I were to drop my left arm, if you think about every action has an equal and opposite reaction, my body is going to go the other way.
If I start out with my arms like this, I'm going to rotate my arms, right one back and left one forward. Watch what happens to my legs. And that was very effective at turning.
On the ground, twisting may look easy. But 6 stories above the ground, with the whole world watching, Olympic freestyle aerials is nothing less than a leap of faith in the law of physics.
Oh, there's the end of the movie. I was so wrapped up in it.
So wrapped up in it. There's another little thing when they were showing the cat and how they used the cat. I remember that in some of the basic training when I was in the military, I had to be a boy soldier, that they were telling us to take the motions of a cat when we were jumping from one building to another building, and if we missed and we went down, and to see it's as you say, the body knows the physics. It's just naming it and applying it and pointing it out to people and knowing how to use it.
Transferring it.
Yeah, a lot of these things are there, aren't they?
Yeah.
There's an awful lot of I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, what I'd like to do is, as an extension of the Winter Olympics, is a local winter sport, which is sledding. All kids love to go sledding. I always did. And, in fact, I wrote a story about it. Last year when I was volunteering here in Quincy at the Head Start, And I decided to write a story for the children that they would enjoy. And it was based on a real life story that happened to me. Some of it was true, some of it I fictionalized. You could pass me the book right over there on top.
How old were these children?
3, 4, and 5.
Oh, these are the ones that came up and you've been teaching them about gravity.
Right.
And there seems some of those, these were children 3, 4, and 5 years of age. And Kathy had read the book to them and she was describing gravity and pushing. And some of the students, I was absolutely amazed. They seemed to understand the principle, or they seemed to understand gravity. And there was me, I was afraid of falling off the world when I was that age. But children do learn early,
They
don't
did.
they?
I introduced the word to them. I introduced the word, and we showed its applications in various things that I did with them in the class. And I'm not going to say that all of the kids got it, but over a series of weeks, some of the kids were picking up on it.
I was pretty amazed.
Anyway, this book is called The Sled, A Matter of Some Gravity. You see the resemblance? That's me.
This is my wife, Catherine, at small, tender age, all wrapped up, looking like a linebacker.
A sturdy child. That was me with my trusty little sled, which when I was about 4 years old, I learned a very difficult lesson. The first lesson I remember learning about the harsh realities of life, and that was that people stole things if you didn't take care of them.
Oh, there's a flash coming through on the screen. It's saying Dancing of the Stars wants to have Mark Crosby come on their show. Must have been a great hula hoop.
Okay,
If you're
here.
there, Mark, the Dancing of the Stars want you to respond to them.
Okay, this is the sled. I'm only going to read a couple pages. I don't have time for all of it. Next show, I promise to read all of this story. Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Catherine. Catherine's father took her to a hill nearby so that she could go sledding down the hill. Now, anyone who has enjoyed riding on a sled knows this. First, you have to do some work before you can coast down a hill. You need to climb up the hill, pushing down the snow with each step and pulling your sled behind you. Well, for the first ride, her father pulled it for her. He helped her to sit on the little sled with her feet out in front. He gave her the rope to hold on to. "Are you ready, Catherine?" he asked. "I'm ready, Daddy." "Okay then, off you go," he said as he gave the sled a little push. The sled began to move slowly, then a little faster. Catherine was excited and shouted, "Whee!" as the little sled went even faster. As she reached the bottom of the hill and the sled came to a stop, she turned her head and found Daddy there too. He had run down the hill. "Do it again," she shouted, turned around, and started pulling the sled up the hill, by herself this time. Well, up and down that hill she went, over and over and over. She did a lot of work each time to climb that hill, but the ride down was so much fun. No work. She loved to shout, "Whee!" on the way down. Finally, it was time to go home and get ready for supper. On the way home, Catherine told her father, "That was fun." "It sure was. Do you know why it was so much fun to go down the hill, Catherine?" "No, Daddy. Why?" "Because of gravity. Gravity pulled you downhill." "I didn't see anything pull me." "Oh, that's right. You can't see it, but it's there. It's like the air. It's like the wind." And so that's all I'm going to have time to read on this show tonight. But you can be thinking about what happens next and ask any young children that you have in your family to watch the next show so they can hear the whole story. Now, Before we say goodbye, I have a little collection of things that I brought in. It's only a sampling of the things that I have been collecting since I have been working on this project of using sports to learn science. So, over on this table,